They say every job has its quirks, strange policies, unspoken rules. But when I took the night shift at Riverside Storage Facility, I didn't expect to find a laminated list of rules that made no sense, until it was too late. My name is Alex, and this is the story of how I learned that some rules exist for reasons we're not meant to understand. I needed the money. That's the only reason I took the job. Riverside Storage Facility was offering twice the normal rate for overnight security, and as a college dropout drowning in debt, I couldn't say no. The interview was strange. Mr. Hendricks, the day manager, was a nervous man in his 60s who wouldn't make eye contact. He kept checking his watch, even though it was only 3 p.m. "The night shift is easy," he said, sliding a key across his desk. "Monitor the cameras, walk the perimeter twice per shift, lock up at 6 a.m. "That's it?" I asked. He hesitated. "There's a list in the security office, rules for the night shift. You need to follow them exactly." "What kind of rules?" "Just follow them, every single one, no exceptions." His voice cracked. "The last guy didn't," and he stopped himself. "Just follow the rules, Alex." I should have pressed him, I should have walked out, but I needed the money. The facility was massive, 12 buildings arranged in a grid, surrounded by chain-link fence and old pine trees. The security office was a small concrete building near the entrance, equipped with a bank of monitors, a mini fridge, and a coffee maker that looked older than me. Taped to the wall above the monitors was a laminated sheet. At the top, in bold red letters, "Night shift RULES follow exactly." I pulled it down to read. Rule 1: lock the main gate at exactly 11 p.m. Not before, not after. Rule 2: buildings 111 are under your jurisdiction. Building 12 does not exist. Do not acknowledge it. Do not look at it. Do not go near it. Rule 3: if you hear knocking on the office door, check the monitors first. If you see nothing on camera, do not open the door. Rule 4: during your perimeter walks, stay on the paved paths. Do not step on the grass even if you drop something. Rule 5: if you see a woman in a blue dress walking between the buildings, turn away immediately. Do not make eye contact. Do not speak to her. Return to the office and wait 30 minutes before resuming your duties. Rule 6: the lights in Building 7 will flicker at 2:47 a.m. This is normal. Do not investigate. Rule 7: if you find a storage unit door open, close it immediately. Do not look inside. Do not shine your flashlight inside. Rule 8: your shift ends at 6 a.m. If someone tells you your shift is over before then, they are lying. Stay until sunrise. Rule 9: you may hear children laughing. There are no children on the property. Put on the headphones in the desk drawer and wait until it stops. Rule 10: if you break any of these rules, report immediately to the day manager and resign. Do not work another night shift. I read the list 3 times. It had to be a joke, some kind of hazing ritual for new employees. I laughed it off and checked the cameras. Everything looked normal. Empty corridors between buildings. Dim security lights casting long shadows. Nothing moved except the trees swaying in the wind. At 11 p.m. exactly, I walked to the main gate and locked it. The heavy chain rattled as I secured the padlock. When I turned back toward the office, I could see all 12 buildings. Wait, 12 buildings? Rule 2 said Building 12 doesn't exist. I counted again. 12 buildings, just like Mr. Hendricks had mentioned during the interview. Building 12 sat at the far corner, darker than the others, with no lights at all. It was just a weird joke, I told myself. Some superstition. That was my first mistake. At 12:47 a.m., someone knocked on the office door. 3 slow, deliberate knocks. I jumped, spilling coffee on the desk. My heart hammering, I remembered Rule 3, check the monitors first. I scanned the camera showing the front of the office. Empty. just the circle of light from the bulb above the door, surrounded by darkness. The knocking came again, louder, more insistent. Knock, knock, knock. Hello, a voice called from outside. A woman's voice, pleasant and friendly. Is anyone there? I locked my keys in my unit. Can you help me? I stared at the monitor. No one, the camera showed nothing. Please, the voice continued. I can see your light on, I just need 5 minutes, I'll be quick. My hand hovered over the door handle. It seemed cruel not to help, but the monitor showed nothing, and Rule 3 was clear. I'm sorry, I called back. Come back during business hours. Silence. Then the woman's voice changed, became deeper, colder. You'll regret this. The door handle rattled violently. The entire door shook in its frame. I stumbled backward, knocking over my chair. The shaking continued for 30 seconds that felt like hours, then stopped abruptly. When I finally worked up the courage to check the monitor again, there was something there. Not a person. A handprint on the outside of the door, but the fingers were too long, the palm too wide, and it was facing the wrong direction, as if whatever made it had its hand on backward. I didn't open that door for the rest of the night. At 1:30 a.m., it was time for my first perimeter walk. I grabbed my flashlight and stepped outside, the cool night air raising goosebumps on my arms. The paved path circled the entire facility, connecting all the buildings. I kept my flashlight trained ahead, following the cracked asphalt. Halfway around, I heard a sound, a soft crying like a child in distress. It was coming from the grass just a few feet off the path. I stopped, swept my flashlight across the lawn. There in the grass was a cell phone. Its screen was lit up, playing the sound of crying. But it wasn't a recording. The crying responded to my light, becoming more urgent. Help me, a child's voice came from the phone. I'm lost, please help me. I stepped toward it. Rule 4 said stay on the path, but this was clearly someone's emergency. Maybe a lost kid trying to call for help. My foot left the pavement. The grass felt wrong, too soft, like stepping on something alive. Yes, the voice hissed, come closer. I jerked my foot back onto the path. The moment I did, the phone's screen went black. The crying stopped, and in the silence I heard something else, something large moving through the grass, circling me. I couldn't see it. My flashlight showed nothing but ordinary grass swaying in the windless night, but I could hear it, breathing, circling. I ran back to the office, not caring how it looked. The entire way, I felt something packing me just beyond the path, matching my speed exactly. When I slammed the office door behind me, I looked at the monitors. The grass where the phone had been was torn up, as if something massive had erupted from beneath it. The phone was gone. At 2 a.m., I couldn't stop staring at Building 12. Rule 2 said it doesn't exist. Don't acknowledge it, don't look at it, don't go near it. But it did exist. It was right there on the monitors. A large building, identical to the others, except all its lights were off. The camera pointed at it showed only darkness and the vague outline of its structure. I toggled through the cameras. Buildings 1 through 11 all had standard storage units with rolling metal doors. Nothing unusual. Building 12's camera showed only static. It's just a maintenance building, I muttered to myself. Or condemned. That's why they tell people to stay away. But I couldn't let it go. What was so dangerous about a building that they'd pretend it didn't exist? At 2:30 a.m. I made my decision. I would just look at it from a distance. I wouldn't go inside or even get close. Just satisfy my curiosity. This was my second mistake, my biggest mistake. I left the office and walked toward Building 12. The closer I got, the colder the air became. My breath misted in front of me, even though it was a warm September night. The building loomed ahead, and I could see why the camera showed only static. The entire structure seemed to absorb light. My flashlight beam didn't penetrate the darkness around it, just stopped at an invisible barrier, as if the shadows were solid. I was 20 feet away when I heard the sound. Scratching, hundreds of fingernails scraping against metal, coming from inside Building 12. Then voices, whispering, not in English, not in any language I recognized, but somehow I understood one word they kept repeating. Witness. The rolling door of Building 12 began to rise, slowly, inch by inch. The scratching grew louder, the whispers became screams. I saw what was inside. I can't fully describe it. My mind won't let me remember the details, but there were people in there, or things that used to be people, dozens of them, hundreds stacked like cordwood, all of them scratching at the walls, all of them with too many joints, too many fingers. And they all turned to look at me at once. Their eyes, God, their eyes were all wrong. I ran. I don't remember running, but suddenly I was back in the office, the door locked, every light on. On the monitors, Building 12's door was closed again. The camera showed only static. But I had looked at it, I had acknowledged it. I had broken Rule 2. I was still shaking when 2:47 a.m. arrived. Right on schedule, the lights in Building 7 began to flicker. Rule 6 said this was normal, don't investigate. But now I knew better. Normal meant something different here. The rules weren't about security procedures, they were about survival. I watched Building 7 on the monitors. The lights flickered in a pattern, 3 short, 3 long, 3 short. SOS in Morse code. Someone was trapped in there, someone needed help. The old me, the me from 6 hours ago, would have investigated, but I'd learned. I stayed in my chair and watched. The flickering stopped at exactly 2:48 a.m. On the monitor, I saw something move in Building 7's corridor. A shadow, impossibly tall, with limbs that bent at angles that made my eyes hurt. It walked the length of the corridor, stopped at the camera, and looked directly into it. I slammed the monitor off. When I turned it back on 5 minutes later, the corridor was empty, but there was a message written on the wall in something dark. We know you looked. They were talking about Building 12. Whatever was in there knew I had broken the rule. At 3:15 a.m. I saw her. Between Buildings 4 and 5, a woman walked slowly across the camera's view. She wore a blue dress that seemed to flow even though there was no wind. Her dark hair hung loose around her shoulders. Rule 5 was explicit, turn away immediately. Don't make eye contact, don't speak to her. I looked away from the monitor, started counting to 30 in my head, tried to think about anything else. But curiosity is a disease. At 23 seconds, I looked back. She was closer, standing at the edge of the camera's view, her face turned toward the lens. I couldn't make out her features, they seemed to shift and blur, but I felt her looking at me. She raised one hand and pointed, directly at the camera, directly at me. Then she smiled, her mouth opened too wide, showing too many teeth. I tore my eyes away, my heart racing. 30 minutes. Rule 5 said wait 30 minutes before resuming duties. I sat there in the office, staring at my hands, forcing myself not to look at the monitors. The minutes crawled past. At 3:44 a.m., 29 minutes later, I heard tapping on the office window. Tab, tab, tab. I didn't look, couldn't look. 1 more minute. The tapping became pounding. The glass rattled in its frame. A woman's voice, sweet and terrible, sang outside. I see you, little watchman. You broke the rules. You looked at me. Now I can look back. 45 seconds. I'm coming inside now. Would you like that? 30 seconds. The pounding stopped. The singing stopped. Silence so complete it hurt my ears. At exactly 3:45 a.m., I checked the monitors. She was gone, but on the window, drawn in condensation from the inside, were the words, "Too late." At 4:12 a.m., I heard children laughing. High-pitched, delighted. The sound of kids playing tag in a playground. It echoed through the facility, impossibly loud, coming from everywhere at once. Rule 9. Put on the headphones and wait until it stops. I yanked open the desk drawer. The headphones were there, ancient and covered in dust. I jammed them over my ears and... The laughing was louder, inside the headphones, inside my head. Playing, not kids playing, kids hunting. I ripped the headphones off. The laughter outside had stopped, but now I could hear footsteps, small feet running between the buildings, running toward the office. "Come play with us," a child's voice called out. "We've been waiting so long," another voice, younger. "The night man always runs away," a third voice, angry now. "But you looked at the building, you broke the rules, now you have to play." I checked the monitors, nothing. The footsteps grew closer. "We're coming in." The door handle started to turn. I had locked it. I know I had locked it, but the handle turned anyway. I did the only thing I could think of. I grabbed the fire extinguisher from the wall and held it like a weapon. The door swung open. Nothing, empty darkness outside. Then I heard the giggling behind me. I spun around. 3 children stood in the office. They wore clothes from different eras, one in a 1950s dress, one in 1970s bell-bottoms, one in a 1980s windbreaker. Their faces were pale. Their eyes were completely black. "You broke Rule 2, the girl in the dress said. "You looked at Building 12. "You broke Rule 5, the boy in bell-bottoms added. "You looked at the woman." "Breaking rules has consequences," the one in the windbreaker finished. "Now you're one of us." They reached for me with hands that stretched impossibly long. I sprayed them with the fire extinguisher. White foam filled the office. When it cleared, they were gone. But my reflection in the darkened monitor showed them standing behind me, waiting. I didn't look back, couldn't look back. At 4:47 a.m. during my second perimeter walk, staying strictly on the path this time, I found it. Unit 7C, its rolling door was open about 2 feet. Darkness inside, absolute and complete. Rule 7, close it immediately. Don't look inside. Don't shine your flashlight inside. I approached carefully, grabbed the handle, started to pull it down. "Help me," a voice from inside. A man's voice, weak and desperate. "Please, I've been trapped in here for days." "Don't look inside." "Please, I'm hurt. I can see your flashlight. Just shine it in here so I can find the way out." "Don't shine your flashlight inside." "My daughter is waiting for me. Please, just look, just help me." I closed my eyes and yanked the door down. It slammed shut with a metallic bang that echoed across the facility. From inside the unit, a scream. Not human. A sound like metal tearing and glass breaking, and 1,000 voices screaming in unison. The entire building shook. The other unit's doors rattled, and then silence. On the door of Unit 7C, something scratched from the inside, slowly, deliberately carving words into the metal. "Almost." At 5:15 a.m., Mr. Hendricks walked into the office. "Alex," he said, smiling. His voice was friendly, too friendly. "You did great tonight. Your shift is over. You can go home now." I stared at him. "Rule 8, your shift ends at 6 a.m. If someone tells you it's over before then, they are lying." "But it's not 6 a.m. yet," I said carefully. His smile didn't waver. "I know, but you've been through a lot. I'm giving you early release. You deserve it. Just clock out and go." "I'll wait until 6 a.m. Protocol." "I'm your manager, Alex. I'm telling you to leave. Now." "No." His face changed, features shifting, melting. His voice became layered, multiple voices speaking at once. "You broke the rules. You looked at Building 12. You engaged with the woman. You're ours now. Come, clock out. Leave through the gate. We're waiting outside." I grabbed the desk and held on. "My shift ends at 6 a.m. The thing that looked like Mr. Hendricks lunged at me. I kicked my chair at it and ran for the bathroom, slamming and locking the door. For 30 minutes, it pounded on the bathroom door. Voices cycled through people I knew, my mother, my ex-girlfriend, my college advisor, all begging me to come out, to leave early, to break Rule 8. I checked my phone, 5:58 a.m. The pounding stopped. I heard footsteps walking away, a door closing. At exactly 6:00 a.m., my phone alarm went off. Sunrise. I could see actual daylight creeping through the small bathroom window. I emerged slowly. The office was empty. Everything looked normal. On the monitors, the facility sat quiet in the dawn light. The front door was open. Outside, the real Mr. Hendricks was unlocking the main gate, looking exhausted as always. I had survived. I drove straight to Mr. Hendricks' house. He opened the door in his bathrobe, looking surprised. "Alex, your shift just ended. You should be sleeping." He saw my face. "You broke a rule." "Several," I admitted. I looked at Building 12. I looked back at the woman, and other things happened. He went pale, led me inside and sat me down, made coffee with shaking hands. "Rule 10, he said quietly. "You report to me, and you resign. No more night shifts." "What is that place?" I asked. "What's in Building 12? He was quiet for a long time. Finally, "Riverside Storage has been here since 1952, built on land that was wrong. They thought they could contain it. Building 12 was supposed to be a buffer, a cage, but you can't cage something like that. You can only follow the rules, keep it satisfied." "Satisfied with what?" "Attention, engagement. Every time someone breaks the rules, it gets stronger, gets more real. The last night shift guard," he trailed off. "They found his body. In Unit 7C, he'd been dead for 3 days, but he kept showing up to work for a week after." I felt sick. What happens to me now? I broke the rules. "You survived until 6 a.m. That's what matters, but you can't go back. Whatever's in there, it knows you now. It'll be waiting." I resigned on the spot. He paid me for the full week in cash and made me sign a non-disclosure agreement. That was 6 months ago. I never went back to Riverside Storage, but it hasn't let me go. Sometimes I hear the children laughing in my apartment at night. Sometimes I see the woman in blue standing at the end of my street. And twice, I've woken up to find footprints on my ceiling, small footprints like a child's. Last week I received a letter, no return address. Inside was a single piece of paper. Night shift rules updated. Rule 11. Once you look at Building 12, it looks back forever. Rule 12. The woman in blue knows where you live now. Rule 13. The children are patient. They can wait. Rule 14. You can run, but every storage facility is connected. Rule 15. Sweet dreams, Alex. We'll see you soon. I'm moving again for the 3rd time, but I know it won't matter. I broke the rules, and some debts can never be repaid. If you ever take a night shift job and you find a list of rules that don't make sense, follow them. Follow every single one. Don't be curious. Don't think you're smarter than the people who came before you. Because some rules exist for reasons we're not meant to understand. And some places are hungry for people who think they know better. Music fades to silence. This is Alex signing off. If you're listening to this and you work at Riverside Storage, follow the rules. All of them. Your life depends on it. Thank you for listening to this horror story. If you enjoyed this, please like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. Share your own workplace horror stories in the comments below. Maybe yours will be featured in the next video. Remember, some rules exist for a reason. Sleep tight if you can. Thanks for listening all the way through. If you enjoyed this, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. It really helps the channel grow.